had told me in like January of last year that by the end of the year I would have competed in a songwriting course/competition, one, been able to record my song with a band and perform at the Manuel, and then as a result the next year I would be in Milan performing that same song, I simply would not have believed you. Like, okay, you're me in 2025 January. You are producing and posting stuff on Spotify that you made on GarageBand. You've only performed your songs twice at the club. You have no idea what you're going to do music-wise. You have no connections. Then my vocal coach sent me a post about this songwriting course called The Right Note, hosted by Scrolls Productions in partnership with the Manuel CPM Music Institute, Nizja, and Corner House Studios. Why don't you apply? And I'm like, and this is something I really struggle with. Even if I know that an investment in myself will be a net positive and the only thing I can get out of it is something good, I need to justify to myself why I should do it. In hindsight, it was an obvious yes. The experience I would get, it would be my first like exposure into the music industry in Malta. I would be getting education I would not be able to get prior. I would be able to get my song recorded by a band. Something else that was kind of stopping me in my head was my horrible case of imposter syndrome. What if I sign up to this and I'm wasting these people's time? Yep. Anyway, dear Greta Holland, we are glad to announce that you have been selected to take part in The Right Note. Okay, bomba. I was by the sea, and for some reason, like, the chorus kept playing in my brain of this song. Yeah, so I wrote this little demo. I sent it in. It sounds absolutely nothing like the final version, by the way. But you know, they liked it. And then they asked us for a lead sheet. And the first waves of imposter syndrome started to come in. What is a lead sheet? I've never written a lead sheet. I have up to grade 6 in music theory training, okay? Whatever. I figure out how to do it. It is what it is. Lead sheet. I don't know why. It just felt like the song needed to be a Maltese. It had to be a Maltese. The chorus, I only kept getting it in my brain in Maltese. You can hear a language in the musical structure of a song, I feel. But then I had this realization. These people are Italian. I'm gonna have to translate everything. They're not gonna understand what I'm doing. They're not gonna understand the significance of the song. I'm cooked. They actually ended up really liking the fact that I wrote a song in Maltese. I get to the place, and it's cool. There's some familiar faces. There's some people who are new, and I'm always looking to make friends, so it's gonna be fun. We go one by one, basically saying like how we got into music and our experience. There's people who like have competed in the X Factor, have competed in Malta Eurovision, have had songs published, have been signed to a label, and I'm like... But then there were also people who had less experience than me, which was really cool. Like, I just felt like it was a real range of people, and everyone's song was really different by the end of the project. So the main figures of the CPM Music Institute that we got to meet were Isabella Turso. Oh my god, what an incredibly talented woman. Tommaso Ferrarese and Andrea Rodini. At some point we meet the band as well, which is made up of John Kotayyar, Luke Grek, Melchior Busuttil and Ryan Polabella. I don't know how they managed to pull off what they ended up pulling off by the end of the week. These are the people that by the end of this course have to learn 9 people's songs in 4 days. With Tommaso, we were all going around and like playing our songs on the piano from the chord sheet that we had sent in, or whatever I sent in. It was really like the moment where I'm like, wow, I'm here and I'm getting to hear everyone's work. That is always the thing I was the most excited for, like hearing everyone else's music and hearing my own song come to life. We had 2 days exactly to put our song together with the band, and I get to the studio. I couldn't find it. I could not find the studio, but I got there. Okay, side rant. When I hear these AI CEO lizard people talking about like, oh, because making music isn't fun, it's a tedious process, it's just so much better to have AI do it for you. There are certain things in a song, certain moments that I want, a riff that I think should be there, a certain beat, or how many is. I like to have creative ownership over what I'm doing, and I like to be there every step of the way. The studio sessions to get the song where it ended up being is so much more fun than if I were to just like let AI do everything. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? So it was just so great hearing everyone sing finally with the band, and like seeing the experimental phase of each song. And my song had a lot of experimental phases. I'm not gonna get into the details of what was said in this course because, like, obviously I need to gatekeep a little bit. We get back and we have our session with Isabella, and we're talking about the color of our song, lemon yellow. Because, you know, the sun, of course. Partly, yes, obviously, because the sun, Shamshi, yellow. But yellow light is very reflective. It kind of removes all of the three-dimensionality of any object it shines on. So you need to strain your eyes to look at something in yellow light, which obviously eye strain creates anxiety and overstimulation because you have to look at it with effort. So that was also part of the reason, because Shamshi is a very ironic song. Like, in a way, it's about toxic positivity. We also talked about synesthesia, which is really cool because I have synesthesia. I'm not saying this to be like, oh my god, I'm so quirky, I have synesthesia. It's pretty obvious from all of my work. Synesthesia is just sensory overlap. Examples of how synesthesia shows up for me, the most obvious one and the most relevant to this discussion is I have visual associations with sound. If I'm watching a movie and someone's leg is getting torn off, I feel like a weird sensation in my leg. That is apparently a form of synesthesia. Cool. The annoying thing about synesthesia is you can't really control the associations that you make. I feel like with colors, there's a general consensus on what certain colors represent. But if you have synesthesia, sometimes those colors mean something completely different to you. Anyway, it was a cool discussion. Then Boban Zlatkovic came and talked to us about music management, and I was really excited for that because it's probably the area I know the least about. Next day, Rachel Vella from the Manuel Theatre came and spoke to us about confidence on stage and performing in front of a live audience and how to deal with the media, which, like, God knows I'm not PR trained, and it was good to speak about performing in front of a live audience considering that's what we'll be doing in a few days. Then we had our second studio session. That is the session I enjoyed the most. You know, the first one I was still a bit nervous, like I didn't know where the song was going, but the second day was our full like creation phase, our full experimentation phase. It is where we finalized the sound of Shemshi, and there were parts where we were experimenting with different styles, different drum patterns, but eventually the kind of disco one is the one that stuck. That being said, in my voice notes, I have some of the drafts of Shemshi, which I really like. I think they sound really good. Maybe they weren't the one, but I think they're really good. So here we go. Left that studio session feeling confident and excited for the next day. And what was the next day? Demos. We had 2 takes each. I don't know if we had 2 takes each. Maybe some had less, some had more, but I had 2 takes. This was great because it was the day where we could hear everyone's songs. We were split into groups, so it was my first time to hear the songs of the group that I wasn't with. This is something that I think Tommaso told us, and it made a lot of sense. No 2 recordings are alike. If you wake up feeling a certain way and you go to the studio, it will reflect in your song. And I think that was definitely the case for Shemshi. As usual, I woke up feeling abysmal. I got to the studio, pulled myself together. I was constantly on the verge of a panic attack. Don't know why, I just was. I think that quiet rage and quiet stress was reflected in the way I recorded the song. And I like it. I like it. It's very Shemshikor. And after I was sent the demo, I tried to maybe record a more like polished version of it, a bit more polished vocals, but it just didn't have the vibe. So eventually I was content with a less vocally polished recording, but one that I felt was more authentic and best represented the song. And I feel like if I was feeling a bit more confident and in a bit more of a chipper mood that morning, it wouldn't have been the Shemshi that I ended up posting. And we were outside in the break, like talking about it and talking about like anxiety or whatever. And Andrea comes up to us and says something which is so true. He said, "Why be anxious? You're gonna die." And I was like, you're so right, King. Listen, if you don't have anxiety, you don't understand the comfort in this. But to me personally, it resonated because it just felt like, you know what? Nothing is really that important because you're gonna die. That's the only thing in life that is certain. So at least you know that all of the embarrassment and all of the pain and all of the bad stuff, eventually it will pass. Then Andrea later spoke to us about building our artist identity. And that is something I was really tuned in for. Because obviously being not just a music artist, if I can even call myself that at this point, I've been a visual artist for a very long time, so I really take the visual identity so seriously and building like an artist brand and having an aesthetic and everything. And I knew what mine was. I knew like what I wanted to wear for Shemshi. I could see like the music video in my head, and so I really think that building an identity as an artist is so important. So it was really cool to talk about that the day of the performance. I wake up and I feel a bit of a tickle in my throat, a bit of a burning in my sinuses. It's September. Why is the Lord doing this to me? Why is this happening to me? Why on the day of the performance do I feel the beginnings of a cold? I am absolutely popping Pectol every 5 seconds, Nurofen to clear my sinuses. I probably shouldn't have done that. It does make your heart rate higher and also makes your everything like drier, so maybe that was not the move, but at the time it was the move. Okay, I just wanted to be not congested. I'm a talkative individual, as you've probably noticed throughout this video, and I wasn't talking. I was not talking to anyone. I need my voice to be good for the final performance because otherwise this has all been for nothing, and I'm not going to be able to deal with that. But everyone looks glamorous. It's getting closer to the show. We've done our sound checks. Everything should be fine. By the way, before our studio session, they emailed us and they were like, okay, bring your in-ears. What are in-ears? Luckily, my boyfriend, because he is a professional gamer, he had in-ears that he bought for a tournament once. And then they were just sitting there. So luckily I had in-ears, but who if I didn't. The organizer, Stefania Grekvella, comes backstage. She had sent us the running order the night before. I am the one before last, which from a competitive standpoint is pretty good, you know, but for a me standpoint of like the anxiety of waiting, regardless, I'm excited. Let's do this. So we're all just having a good time, having a blast, you know. And she comes backstage and she's like, okay, she's explaining the layout. And then she's like, oh yes, and then we have the awards. And I suddenly remembered, this is a competition. I was so caught up in the fact that like, wow, I have a band. I'm writing a song and I'm recording it with a band. I'm here at the Manuel. I'm performing at the Manuel. I fully forgot that it was a contest until she told us that. So yeah, cool. I'm about to go on. Kyle Zarb is finishing his song. I am backstage with the ginger Pectol. You know what? Let's just go out. Let's just do it. I almost twisted my ankle earlier, but I didn't. So good omen. I get on the stage. I do my song. Slay. It went well, I think. People liked it. Let's go. It has passed. We're gonna die. Off stage. Nice. Elisa Borch won Best Musical Composition. Gianluca won Best Performance. And then they're like, okay, and now our overall winner, Shemshi. And I wish there was a video of this, but there was a solid second or two where I didn't register that they had just said me. And then it hit like, oh, that's me. I'm Shemshi. Like I had no prediction I would place, let alone win, but I won. I don't want to say somehow, because this is the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is not being able to recognize when you deserve something. Imposter syndrome is feeling like you are out of place and you are cosplaying someone who is qualified to be there. But no, I put efforts into the writing of the song. I put effort into the lyrics, which I want to talk a bit about the song itself because it means a lot to me. The general theme of Shemshi is toxic positivity. I was battling mental health struggles, the daily struggle of having a chronic illness and having to take so many extra steps to be able to function as a person that other people take for granted. Just having to literally try to micromanage every part of my life, and sometimes you just can't. That went into the lyrics a lot. And apart from that, growing up in Malta, being Maltese, experiencing what is happening to Malta now. It's edgy, okay? It's about like, they ask you if you're fine, you're not fine, whatever the fuck. It's about having to mask and put up the illusion of being fine. I just think the question, are you okay, is so fake. Like, because what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? There's been so many times in my life where I'll be like, how are you? Are you okay? And no, I'm obviously not. Like, I'm having a horrible time. But what are you supposed to say? It's not just the fact that, like, there's an expectation to say that you're okay. It's also, like, what are you gonna do about it? And that's one of the lyrics in the song. Like, even if I tell you the truth, what are you gonna do? Because what are you gonna do? And I feel like it's a very deceiving song. That's what I've been told. Is that because the vibe is also upbeat and so like funky disco vibes, but the lyrics are talking about how, you know, I try to micromanage my life and I try to control it, and there's things that I just can't, but I obviously cannot burden people with that knowledge that I'm miserable and overwhelmed, because life goes on and I have to be, especially as an artist, I think you have to have this persona of being happy and chill and all that stuff. So yeah, and it resonates with a lot of people. Obviously, everyone is having to put on the front of being okay, but there is a uniquely Maltese element to it as well, because I just feel like that's the general identity of the islands right now, especially in summer. Like, it's a very touristy country right now. It's like a tourist trend, and there are things that are just plaguing our country that have been a problem for many, many years. I just don't think Shemshi could be in any other language other than Maltese, because there are phrases that are uniquely Maltese and like you can translate them, but they just don't hit the same. I knew that when I made this music video, the visuals needed to be very Maltese. There needed to be references to our climate and the sea and the things that make me happy, but also things like the construction that's happening outside my house that is part of my everyday life, and it's like suffocating, but we cannot really complain about it because if we sound ungrateful. There's like a huge mentality in Malta of like, if you don't like it, leave. But because I won, I was able to go to Milan, which is crazy. Tomorrow is the day of the performance. I haven't really taken even a second to think about how I'm actually feeling about all this. I've kind of just been in like go mode, and that's kind of how it is, like just traveling and existing with a chronic illness, to be honest. Is like I haven't even had a second to actually think about what I'm doing here. You don't really get to enjoy much. I've had people like congratulate me about the fact that I'm doing this, and then that's kind of when I realized like, oh, I'm actually doing something really cool. I hope everything goes well tomorrow. I'm just going to focus on having fun. Ironically, the performance is the least thing I'm worried about because of everything else. I went and everyone was super lovely. Everyone was so nice to me. Like, people were showing me around and I was so scared that I was gonna just be like this random Maltese girl, but no, people were really welcoming and I met some really, really cool people, and it was just nice. It was a nice experience. I did my performance, I did an interview, and I met everyone there, and it was really, really nice. And I'm proud of myself that I managed to actually see it through and go and perform, and I survived. Now, where is Shemshi? I released Shemshi, and the love on it has been insane. For such a, like, for the small artist that I am, I'm really grateful. Like, the video has 1,300 views, which for a purely Maltese song that appeals to a very specific demographic, I think is really good. It's on 897 Bays, homegrown, which is really freaking cool. I'm so happy with everyone who's like streamed it, everyone who's shared it. I'm just so happy. about the support that I received. And I feel like, okay, now it's my responsibility to make sure that I market myself, you know, and that I share this song with people. And I wanted to make this video because I've received so much love on the song. I want to talk about the people who are responsible for the song's existence as well. Listen, people are gonna be like, Greta, calm down. It's like not that big of a thing. To me, it is. To me, this is a milestone, and I am very happy that I managed to do it. So yeah, stream Shemshi and watch the music video. I'm gonna link it. Ciao.
شمشي 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 كلش شمشي 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 كلش شمشي